Herbivores love to eat plants, right? I mean, they're herbivores. Surprisingly, the answer is actually not that simple. Now, the very major difference between herbivores and carnivores is that herbivores only eat specific type of plants. Now, pandas, they're herbivores. They eat plants, but they can only eat bamboo. In fact, they cannot eat any other type of plant. They can't eat leaves or grass. Inversely, let's look at cows. Now, cows and goats, they're ruminants, and they eat grass and ferment this grass into short-chain fatty acid. However, if they eat leaves, they can actually pose serious health risks for them. Most notably, while some leaves do provide good protein content, the digestibility is very low, and many times leaves have tannic acid in the leaves. This acid causes proteins in the rumen to bind more readily and has a negative effect on digestibility. So, despite cows being herbivores, they're meant to eat plants. They actually cannot eat a lot of plants. They can only eat very specific plants that they were evolutionarily designed to eat, which are grass. But keep in mind, cows cannot eat every single type of grass out there. They can only eat specific types of grass. As you can see, plants are actually so poisonous that even herbivores have a very difficult time eating them, and they can only eat the exact type of plants that they were designed to eat. That's the very major different thing about carnivores and herbivores. Herbivores are not designed to eat plants. Herbivores evolved to eat very, very specific subset of plants. Giraffes are another example. Giraffes, what are they meant to eat? They eat leaves from very tall trees. Carnivores are not the same. Carnivores can eat pretty much every animal. Look at the common house cat. Now, in the wild, they might be feeding on small animals like rodents or birds, but in domesticated, we feed them just about everything. Anything from chicken meat to deep ocean fish. Again, foods that cats would not have access to in their natural environment. Yet, they can thrive on these kinds of foods. Same as zoo animals. In terms of zoo animals, herbivores are a lot harder to feed because they can only sustain on very specific types of food. If you have pandas in a zoo, they can only eat bamboo. On the other hand, if you have a tiger or wolf, they can all share pretty much the same food because carnivores, for the most part, can eat whatever animal they want. Indeed, let's look at humans. The vast majority of plants are unedible to us, like tree bark, leaves, grass, etc. But in terms of meat, well, humans can eat pretty much every animal. I mean, there's only a handful of animals that are inedible to humans, but a very interesting thing here is that humans, from a young age, are taught to eat a wide variety of vegetables and fruits, even though actual herbivores in the wild don't do that. Goats, they can only eat very specific types of grass and eat these in large quantities. Goats are certainly not foraging around the wild to eat 20 different types of grass. Now, why is this? Why are herbivores so picky? Well, that's something called plant toxins or anti-nutrients. See, plants don't want to get eaten, so they want to discourage other animals from eating them. Animals are a little different. Animals don't want to get eaten either, but they can run away, they can fight back, they can have protection. Plants cannot, so their first line of defense is anti-nutrients, or plant toxins. These are meant to discourage other animals from eating them. So, if you take any plant, may that be grass or leaves, they have tons of plant toxins in them. That makes it very hazardous for other animals, may that be insects or herbivores or omnivores, to eat them. However, over time, herbivores are evolved to eat plants. But when herbivores evolved, they're evolved to eat only specific types of plants, not every plant. So yes, a goat is a herbivore, and goats can thrive on grass, but only grass. You cannot feed goats leaves and expect that goat to thrive. They have to eat grass. Because again, goats are not evolved to eat leaves, they're evolved to eat grass. Herbivores are evolved to counteract plant toxins, but they can only counteract the plant toxins they're evolved to counteract. Animals are evolved to meat too. How does carnivores play out? Well, carnivores also have this kind of evolution, but this is more operational based than nutritional based. Because again, animals defend ourselves by, running away or hiding or having protection or armor. The perfect example of a very specific carnivore diet would be anteaters. Anteaters are evolved to eat ants. Now keep in mind, although they're evolved to eat ants, anteaters are perfectly fine eating other food if they're given to them. But they're evolved to be able to hunt ants on the regular. An anteater would not be very good at hunting birds, for example. However, if you give them a bird to eat, they'll have no problem eating that bird. So again, animals, our evolution, both offense and defense, are based on an operational basis. So for example, ants are very good at hiding inside tunnels, so most predators cannot get to them. On the other hand, we have anteaters, which are evolved to eat ants who are in tunnels. And we have this sort of, constant balancing act. Carnivores can eat other animals without much problems. Herbivores, they can only eat very specific types of plants. And indeed, the next time you go to a zoo, take a look at what every herbivore is eating. Another cool thing is that carnivores tend to be fed a more variety of diet. Especially, even with pets, most people want their cats to eat a variety of different animals because it's more fun, right? Feed them some chicken, feed them some pork, and maybe feed them some fish. With herbivores, not really the same. For humans, apparently that's different because humans are supposedly designed to eat all sorts of different plants, completely different from other herbivores. Well, you can be the judge of that. what plants do you want to eat? Another major difference between herbivores and carnivores is the amount of food they eat and the amount of time spent eating. So a cow, for example, needs to eat about 10 times as much food as a tiger. So cows, they have to graze all day to get all the nutrients they need, all the food they need. Whereas carnivores, like tigers, they eat once and then fast for multiple days.